Welcome to episode 36 of your CySA Plus Prepcast. Today we explore common detection techniques used by cybersecurity analysts in security operations centers, or SOCs. The ability to detect threats accurately, efficiently, and in real time is fundamental to maintaining an effective defense posture in any organization. Detection serves as the first step in the incident response lifecycle, and knowing how to apply a variety of techniques ensures that threats are identified quickly before they escalate into damaging security events. Understanding these approaches will also help you perform strongly on the CySA Plus exam, where multiple detection methodologies and their applications are tested. Detection in the SOC context refers to the methods and processes used to identify indicators of compromise, malicious behaviors, or violations of policy across organizational environments. Analysts rely on a combination of automated tools, pre-configured rules, baseline comparisons, and manual investigation techniques to spot unusual or unauthorized activity. These techniques are used to monitor systems, endpoints, users, and network infrastructure, often in real time. Detection tools range from simple rule-based monitoring engines to complex machine learning systems, capable of spotting advanced persistent threats. One of the most common detection techniques is signature-based detection. This approach uses predefined identifiers, often called signatures, to recognize known threats. These signatures may represent file hashes, byte sequences, or behavioral patterns tied to specific malware families or attack tools. Signature-based systems are used in antivirus engines, intrusion detection systems, and web proxies. While effective against known threats, signature-based detection struggles to detect new or heavily obfuscated malware. On the exam, expect to be tested on the limitations of signature-based detection and scenarios where it's appropriate or insufficient. Anomaly-based detection is another core approach. Instead of relying on known bad patterns, anomaly detection focuses on identifying deviations from normal behavior. This could involve spotting an unusual login time, unexpected outbound data transfers, or resource usage spikes. Analysts define baselines for normal behavior and then configure systems to alert when deviations occur. Anomaly detection is useful for spotting previously unseen threats, but it can generate false positives if baselines are not well defined. On the CySA Plus exam, you may encounter questions that ask you to differentiate between anomaly-based and signature-based techniques, or identify use cases for both. Behavioral analysis is closely related to anomaly detection, but focuses specifically on sequences of actions or intent-based behavior. For example, while anomaly detection might flag a rare login location, behavioral analysis might recognize that a user logged in, executed suspicious PowerShell commands, and accessed a sensitive database, all within a few minutes. Behavioral analysis helps detect sophisticated attacks that follow certain playbooks or tactics. Analysts use this technique to identify lateral movement, privilege escalation, and suspicious data access. You may see exam questions that ask how behavioral analysis contributes to advanced threat detection. The book's depth. Heuristic analysis uses rules and logic to identify suspicious behaviors or file characteristics based on experience rather than precise signatures. This proactive approach allows analysts to detect previously unknown malware by looking for patterns that suggest malicious intent. For instance, a file that attempts to disable antivirus services, modify system directories, or access cryptographic functions may be flagged, even if it has never been seen before. Heuristics are often employed in endpoint protection systems and static file analysis tools. On the exam, expect to be asked how heuristics bridge the gap between signature-based and behavior-based methods. Detection based on indicators of compromise is another widely used method. Analysts monitor for known IOCs such as malicious file hashes, domains, IP addresses, registry keys, or file names. Threat intelligence feeds supply these indicators, which can then be used in SIEM platforms, EDR systems, and firewall configurations to generate alerts when observed in the environment. This form of detection is powerful for identifying known threat actor infrastructure or malware artifacts. CySA Plus questions may include IOSs and ask how to use them to prioritize alerts or identify infected systems. Threat hunting takes a more proactive approach. Rather than waiting for alerts, Analysts actively search for signs of compromise using hypotheses, threat intelligence, and behavioral patterns. Threat hunting involves querying log data, correlating anomalies, and examining endpoint telemetry for subtle or hidden indicators. This method is especially effective against stealthy attackers and advanced persistent threats. They'll develop custom queries, pivot between data sources, and often use sandboxing or memory analysis to confirm their findings. On the exam, you may be asked how threat hunting differs from traditional monitoring or what tools support hunting workflows. UE and Entity Behavior Analytics, or UEBA, expands on traditional behavioral analysis by incorporating machine learning to detect anomalies across users, systems, and devices. UEBA platforms analyze patterns of behavior and generate risk scores based on deviations. These tools help identify compromised credentials, insider threats, and privilege abuse. For example, if a user suddenly accesses sensitive data they've never touched before, UEBA can flag the behavior for further review. On the exam, you may encounter questions involving UEBA use cases or how it supports detection in zero-trust environments. Machine learning and artificial intelligence are becoming integral to SOC detection operations. These techniques process large volumes of data and identify patterns that might escape human analyst or rule-based systems. AI engines can learn what constitutes normal and abnormal over time, reducing false positives and enhancing detection speed. They are particularly useful in environments with large-scale log data, dynamic behaviors, and sophisticated attacks. Analysts must still validate and tune these models to prevent blind spots. Expect to see CySA plus questions that ask how ML-based detection compares to rule-based or signature-based approaches. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are more security courses on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Now that we've explored foundational detection methods such as signature-based systems, anomaly detection, behavioral analysis, and machine learning, we'll shift our focus to how these techniques are applied in daily SOC operations. Analysts must know how to implement, refine, and document detection strategies using modern tools and methodology. This second half of the episode emphasizes correlation logic, network visibility, endpoint telemetry, and deception technologies, all of which help detect threats across diverse infrastructure layers. These applied strategies are not only essential for success on the CySA Plus exam, but also for building scalable and proactive detection practices in real-world environments. One of the most commonly used detection strategies in a modern SOC involves event correlation within security information and event management systems. SIM platforms allow analysts to define rules that automatically correlate events across multiple sources, such as login logs, file access events, firewall alerts, and antivirus detection. For example, a correlation rule may trigger an alert if a user logs in from a new country, accesses a sensitive share, and then deletes large volumes of data within minutes. This approach helps detect multi-step attack sequences and provides analysts with high-fidelity alerts. CySA Plus exam questions may ask how to build or evaluate effective correlation logic or interpret SIM alert results. Pattern recognition is another essential skill for SOC analysts. This technique involves identifying common sequences or recurring behaviors that are typical of certain types of attacks. For instance, credential stuffing often follows a pattern of repeated login attempts across multiple user accounts. Similarly, ransomware might begin with a PowerShell download, followed by mass file modification. Recognizing these patterns enables analysts to act quickly even if a specific signature or IOC is not present. You may be asked on the exam to identify behavioral patterns based on log excerpts, or choose which patterns suggest a particular type of threat. Traffic inspection tools and techniques form a core component of network detection strategies. Analysts rely on systems such as intrusion detection systems, firewalls with logging capabilities, and deep packet inspection solutions to analyze traffic flowing through the network. By examining packet payloads, header information, and flow metadata, analysts can detect reconnaissance, lateral movement, exploitation attempts, or command and control communication. These methods are vital for identifying threats that bypass endpoint controls or target vulnerabilities at the protocol level. Expect exam questions that test your understanding of traffic inspection output, or ask how to apply DPI to specific threat scenarios. Endpoint detection and response tools play a crucial role in enhancing visibility at the host level. EDR platforms monitor endpoints continuously for signs of compromise, collecting data on file system changes, process launches, script execution, registry modifications, and network activity. Analysts use this data to detect ransomware behaviors, unauthorized software installation, and privilege escalation. EDR systems also offer response capabilities, enabling containment and remediation directly from the console. CySA Plus scenarios may present EDR alert summaries and ask you to interpret the data or select appropriate containment actions. DNS and IP reputation-based detection is another effective strategy that leverages threat intelligence sources. Analysts monitor DNS queries and outbound traffic for communication with known malicious infrastructure. Tools like DNS firewalling and real-time IP reputation feeds help block phishing domains, malware callbacks, and botnet traffic before data can be exfiltrated. When integrated with SIEM platforms, this data generates high-confident alerts that can be acted upon immediately. On the exam, you may be tested on how reputation data is gathered and how to act on alerts involving malicious IPs or suspicious domain resolution. File integrity monitoring is widely used to detect unauthorized changes to critical system files, binaries, and configurations. Analysts configure FIM to alert on changes to protected directories, startup files, or system libraries. These modifications may indicate that an attacker is attempting to install backdoors, alter system behavior, or establish persistence. FIM systems record what changed, when, and by whom, allowing analysts to trace malicious actions and recover affected systems. CySA Plus questions may require you to identify which types of files should be monitored or how to investigate a FIM alert. Sandboxing or dynamic file analysis offers analysts a safe environment in which to execute suspicious files and observe behaviors. Unlike static inspection, sandboxing captures runtime actions such as network calls, file encryption, persistence mechanisms, and command execution. This information is used to confirm whether a file is malicious and to develop detection rules based on observed behaviors. Analysts may also extract new indicators of compromise for use in threat intelligence feeds. On the exam, you may be asked how sandboxing supports detection workflows, or how to interpret behavior logs from a sandboxed file. Detection based on vulnerability exposure is another proactive technique. Analysts use vulnerability scanner results, CVE intelligence, and patch status data to correlate with exploitation attempts detected on the network or endpoints. For instance, if a known vulnerability is present on a web server and the IDS logs attempts to access that server using a known exploit pattern, an alert is generated. This helps prioritize remediation and assess the impact of attempted intrusions. CySA Plus questions may ask how to use vulnerability data to support detection or evaluate scanner outputs in response to live attacks. Deception technologies like honeypots, honey tokens, and decoy systems are strategic detection tools designed to lure attackers and trigger alerts when unauthorized access attempts occur. For example, placing fake administrative credentials in network shares or deploying dummy servers mimicking real services can help detect lateral movement and privilege escalation attempts. Analysts monitor these decoys closely and use them to gain insight into attacker techniques and intent. On the exam, expect to see scenarios involving honeypot detections or questions about the purpose and benefits of deception in threat detection. Lastly, detection techniques must be continuously refined to remain effective against evolving threats. Analysts regularly review detection rules, adjust thresholds, test use cases, and validate coverage through red team simulations and purple team exercises. They also track false positives and update rules to reduce alert fatigue while maintaining high accuracy. Effective documentation of detection logic, alert history, response playbooks, and lessons learned ensures that the detection process evolves based on real-world experience. CySA Plus questions may require you to identify how to improve detection efficacy, or manage detection workflows across different tools. To summarize episode 36, understanding and applying a wide range of detection techniques, from signatures and heuristics to machine learning and deception, is essential for success in a security operations center. These methods, when used together, provide layered visibility across users, endpoints, and network infrastructure. By mastering these techniques, analysts are better equipped to detect threats early, respond effectively, and reduce the risk of damage. As you prepare for the CySA Plus exam, focus on interpreting alert data, understanding detection tool capabilities, and evaluating how different techniques contribute to a holistic defense. Thanks for listening. To learn more about cybersecurity, please visit baremetalcyber.com. There you will find best-selling books, videos, and even more free cybersecurity training courses. Please subscribe to the Prepcast and our various podcasts. And thanks for listening.